friends, I'm Rick, is your seat at the table, and we're talking about mercenaries today. Perhaps there's some dispute in certain neighborhoods where I come from, anyway, as to what's the oldest profession in history. You know, what we all say is the oldest, or a lot of people say, may not necessarily be the oldest profession, i.e., the housewife is old as a profession, farming is a profession, right? I'm just saying, you know, being a mercenary. Now, what sets the adventurers apart from being mercenaries? Ask yourself that. You know, what defines the difference between the player characters at the table, who were mostly in it for, you know, for money or loot or fame? If that's not being a mercenary by definition, I don't know. And I got thinking about some of this. I've been wrestling around with this in my head more than a few times the past 3 or 4 weeks. Been a video I've been wanting to do. I've actually did a version of it on my cell phone, but I have not posted it because it's on my cell phone, and I don't really like how it turned out. I was just screwing around my phone and kind of went off on a tangent. So anyway, if you're not familiar with BattleTech, MechWarrior is the RPG version of BattleTech, but mercenaries are a key cornerstone of that game's setup. They play a major role, both from a place of players to get started and to play themselves, and as opposing forces and so on and so forth. It's quite vast. As a matter of fact, it's so many. This particular book here, I believe, is this the Fan Pro or FASA product? Okay, so this is a FASA version of the Mercenaries Handbook. There are about a dozen or more source books for BattleTech that have the title Mercenary on them. So part of the thing is that what roles do we have for using them in most game settings? So unless your player characters are mercenaries themselves, and that's not impossible. I have ran campaigns when the players, basically at the end of the day, that's what they decided they were going to be. I've also had players whose backstory starts out their characters being, having worked in a mercenary company for one reason or another. Majority of the time, though, mercenaries provide hired muscle and hired specialists. That's something that people all know about the hired muscle. Mercenaries, you got to route out a orc den to save a MacGuffin or to acquire a MacGuffin, and there's literally 200 orcs in that den, and there's only 5 of you in your group. Maybe you don't want to take on 200 orcs head on. So one of the things you can do is hire a mercenary company or two to clean out the damn orcs for you. And then you follow up behind them, help out in the at the crucial moments where you're needed, and then find the MacGuffin you're looking for, and deal with pay the mercenaries and send them on their way. The other one is, once again, I did a video not too long ago. Don't know when actually did a video 5 minutes ago. Whether or not I posted it yet, I can't say. But we talk about an austere game scenario where or games sandbox where money is not hand over fist, that you have real tight controls over. Well, your character reaches 10th level, and one of those things that a fighter would want to do is to establish a hold for themselves, a keep of some sort, and to do that, you've got to acquire the land, clear all the monsters off of it, then hire the crews that's going to come in and build the structures for you, and then hire the people to staff it, and so on and so forth, and what have you, and wherefore, and so mercenaries play that role. Once again, if you look in most of the Dungeons and Dragons editions have one book or another, if not, they're in the back of the damn Dungeon Master's Guide about mercenaries and how to hire them, what they cost, things like this. What they don't define, it talks about hiring a troop, but what it doesn't tell you how many's in a damn troop. So at least I wasn't able to find one in the book I was looking at. Doesn't mean it ain't there, it just meant I personally couldn't find it. So when we talk about hiring the mercenaries to go out and clear the land for you, to set it up and to perhaps to protect the site. So, when you're building a small castle, a keep, if you're building a castle, it's at its most vulnerable when it's in the construction phase, when somebody can overrun the construction site and set fire to everything, for example. Right? So what you do is you hire mercenaries, potentially, to provide security for your construction site. And this goes in lieu of hiring guards, because guards implying long-term employees versus short-term hired muscle. And that's how I look at that. And there's another point and element of mercenaries that often get overlooked. And I have myself as a player done this twice now, where we had a session, a scenario comes up, and I don't think we have enough muscle to achieve the goal fast enough for me. And as a group, we are flush. We're relatively well off monetarily wise, so we hire a mercenary company. We hire a couple dozen, hired muscle, as opposed to going to the local thieves guild and hiring street muscle and thugs. There's you want a level for, you just want somebody to break some legs and knock some furniture over. Go save your coin, hire the thugs. They get the stuff done, or they don't get the stuff done. If you want a level of professionalism and determination to see the mission through, hire mercenaries. Just remember, though, big portion of what mercenaries operate on are their reputations and lack thereof. So a mercenary outfit with little or no reputation is going to be a lot cheaper, and they'd be willing to take on some things that wouldn't a regular veteran unit would not, because having learned the hard way that's an expensive way to achieve something. But when you're new and you're starting out, you need to do some things like this to earn that reputation, to guarantee better payouts later down the road. So you can hire these mercenaries to, I need to hire 5 of your guys to backstop me as I go have a conversation with somebody who belongs to the local Assassins Guild, kind of thing. So I went and hired a small troop mercenaries for a day job, and to quite success. And that's just an example personally of way I've taught mercenaries in various campaigns. As for role playing and playing a mercenary, playing as mercenaries have some interesting benefits and some negatives to it, in my opinion. The benefits being is because you're part of an organization, generally a company or a larger, which has its logistics and support train and things like this, things like healing and replacement equipment, stuff like that, is going to be easier to achieve through the company, because that's what you do. The downside is that if you're going to be mercenaries, there's a good possibility that you're going to get hired to do something that you didn't really want to do, or you seem as boring and you just got to burn through it. You got to grind through the session to get to the next thing, some ways. But mercenaries, from the Dungeons and Dragons perspective, I truly believe that's par prepared over and over again, especially when it comes to random encounter charts and people discussions. A lot of people don't like random charts. I think a lot of people misunderstand what they're used for and don't apply them appropriately. And if you don't apply them appropriately, then you get some very weird, encounters where you go, huh? How does that happen? Right? You got an elephant in a cavern 5,000 feet below the surface. What? No. You better be able to explain that one, because otherwise it just randomly shows up, trumpeting its nose everywhere it goes. No, I don't think so. So the idea being is that you hire these guys as temporary muscle, or to achieve a goal that frees the characters up to go do something else. That, like I said, over and over again, it comes up. What do you do with the horses? So you got some horses and pack mules, a wagon, whatever. Hold it all the way out to the lair, and now you're going underground. You might be underground for days or weeks. What do you do with the livestock up there? You're just going to let the horses go? You're not going to be there when you come back. They're not going to stick around. If you tie them up, they're going to come back and they're going to be dead or stolen. or both. You know, and not necessarily in a good way. You likely come back and find them half-eaten, and the thing that eating them is sitting over there, resting its belly, and it's looking at you as like your dessert. So I mean, you know, I don't think they get used as much as they could, in my opinion. Anyway, that's just my ramble and bamble on it. It is now, I think, going on 7 o'clock, right? Yeah, a little after 7, so I think it's time I go ahead and get this job run and get out of here. Until next time.